The shocking truth about everyday items. Picture this. You're at the airport, rolling your suitcase toward the check-in counter. Everything feels normal. Your passport is tucked safely in your jacket pocket, you've printed your boarding pass, and your bag is packed with the same everyday items you always travel with. You've done this dozens of times. You know the drill. But this time, something feels off. A security officer flags your bag, pulls you aside, and suddenly removes an item you never thought twice about. An ordinary thing you've carried on every single trip. You're left standing there, stunned. Wait, this isn't dangerous. Why are they banning it now?
This is
happening more and more
I'm
around
so
the
glad
world.
you're watching this video.
Airlines
I
and
travel a
airport
lot and always
security
try to
have
bring you the most
quietly
up-to-date
tightened
and
their
useful
restrictions in the
information.
past
For
year.
return, I ask you to fasten your
And what's
seatbelts,
shocking
subscribe,
is that
and give a
many
like.
of the items on
And
the
now,
new
Cuddly, let's
no-go
take off.
list aren't weapons or suspicious gadgets. They're everyday things, the kinds of items most travelers carry without a second thought. Things you might even have in your pocket right now. And here's the real danger. Not knowing the rules won't protect you. Ignorance doesn't get you a pass. If you show up at the airport with the wrong item, the best case scenario is that it gets thrown away on the spot. But the worst case scenario? Fines, long delays, missing your flight, or even being denied boarding altogether. People have literally missed expensive international trips over something as silly as a battery pack or a jar of peanut butter. Airlines are under pressure. They've dealt with real incidents in recent years. Power banks overheating in cabins, aerosol sprays exploding in overhead bins, and harmless liquids triggering bomb-sniffing alarms. Even one false alarm can evacuate an entire terminal, cause hours of chaos, and cost airlines hundreds of thousands of dollars. After a string of these events, airlines decided to get stricter. Much stricter. What's important to know is that these bans aren't always obvious, and they don't always match what you remember from your last flight. Rules can shift without much public announcement. Something allowed last year may now be confiscated instantly. Even worse, the rules aren't always consistent between airlines. A budget carrier in Europe may ban something that a US airline still allows. But overall, the trend is clear. Everyday items are disappearing from our carry-ons. That's where this video comes in. We're going to cover the 7 most common everyday items that airlines have recently banned. These aren't knives, explosives, or obvious threats. They're the little things. Deodorants, tools, gadgets, drinks, the small stuff that catches you off guard. For each one, I'll explain 3 things. Why it was banned. The surprising story behind the rule. What happens if you're caught with it? And yes, sometimes it's more than just losing the item. What to do instead? Simple alternatives so you don't run into problems. This isn't about scaring you. It's about saving you from wasting money, losing your gear, or worse, missing the trip you've been looking forward to. Most travelers only learn about these new bans the hard way, when a security officer is tossing their stuff into a bin. But after watching this, you'll be one of the prepared ones. Think of it like this. In the airport, your carry-on bag is basically under a microscope. Every item in it can be questioned. The officers don't care if it feels harmless to you. They care about rules, safety, and minimizing risk. And the more unpredictable passengers become, the tighter the rules get. Now I want you to stick with me all the way through, because number 6 on this list is something almost every single traveler carries daily. You've probably had it in your pocket while boarding dozens of flights, and it's now on the chopping block. Losing it might not just cost you the item itself. It could cost you time, money, and your peace of mind. So grab a notebook or take mental notes because we're diving into the list. By the end, you'll know exactly what to remove from your bag before leaving home. You'll breeze through security while other passengers are being pulled aside, confused about why their harmless item suddenly isn't allowed. Are you ready? Let's start with the very first everyday item that airlines have quietly banned. The 7 everyday items airlines just banned. Now, let's get into the real list. Remember, these aren't knives, guns, or anything obviously dangerous. These are ordinary things you've probably packed dozens of times before. But airlines have had enough close calls and incidents to decide we're banning them outright. And if you don't know the rules, you're the one who pays the price. 1. Oversized power banks and certain lithium batteries. Everyone travels with power banks now. They're lifesavers when your phone is dying. But here's the catch. Anything over 100 watt-hours is now considered a fire hazard. And yes, just one overheating battery pack has forced emergency landings before. When a lithium battery catches fire at 35,000 feet, there's nowhere to go. If you get caught with one that's too powerful, security will confiscate it immediately. Some airlines even hand out fines if you fail to declare it. The safe move? Check the watt-hour rating printed on your device. Stick to smaller, airline-approved models, and always keep them in your carry-on, never in checked luggage, where a fire could go unnoticed. 2. Aerosol sprays, even everyday deodorants. You might think, what's wrong with deodorant? Well, the problem isn't the deodorant, it's the pressurized can. Aerosols have been known to burst mid-flight, damaging baggage compartments and overhead bins. Security doesn't care if it's hairspray, air freshener, or a fancy mousse. If it's over the limit, it goes straight into the trash. I've seen travelers lose brand new bottles worth $40 right at the checkpoint. Want to avoid that heartbreak? Go for solid stick deodorants or transfer liquids into approved travel size bottles. 3. Nail clippers with hidden blades. Nail clippers by themselves are fine, but some designs come with a fold-out knife or small blade attached. They're sold as multi-purpose clippers, and that tiny blade is what gets them flagged. It looks harmless at home, but at an airport, it's treated like a weapon. The result? You'll lose it instantly, and sometimes you'll be pulled aside for extra questioning. A simple, blade-free clipper solves the problem. Don't risk your trip over a $5 tool. 4. Water bottles and liquid foods. We all know the 100 milliliter liquid rule, right? But enforcement has gotten way stricter. Even sealed water bottles are thrown out now. I've personally seen people lose expensive face creams, jars of peanut butter, and even yogurt cups. If it's creamy, spreadable, or pourable, it's treated as a liquid. It doesn't matter if it's unopened or brand new. Security won't argue. They'll just toss it. The smarter move is bringing an empty reusable bottle through security and filling it up afterward. For food, stick to sandwiches or packaged solids. Anything that can spill will cause you trouble. 5. Medical liquids without proof. This one shocks people. You might think, it's medicine, surely they'll let me through, but without proper documentation, staff are required to confiscate it. That means cough syrups, insulin vials, prescription creams, all can be taken if you can't prove they're medically necessary. The risk isn't just losing the item. If you argue, you risk missing your flight. The solution? Always travel with a doctor's note or a prescription label. Keep it in your bag where it's easy to reach. I've seen travelers wave a simple printed note and breeze past what would have been an hour-long problem. 6. Portable electronic lighters. This is the one that surprises almost everyone. USB rechargeable lighters and other fancy electronic fire gadgets are now being flagged. Some contain hidden fuel cells, others use high heat coils that confuse scanners. Either way, they're considered unsafe. If you're caught with one, it's taken immediately. In some strict airports, it's even reported. The safe alternative? Buy a cheap disposable lighter once you arrive at your destination. It's not worth the risk to carry these through. 7. Sharp tools disguised as gadgets. Multi-tools are a clever invention, but airports hate them. Credit card knives, keychain screwdrivers, pen-shaped cutters, all of these are on the radar now. Even if they're small, they're treated as concealed weapons. The consequences vary, sometimes just confiscation, but in certain countries, even fines. Don't bring them in your carry-on at all. Pack them in checked luggage or leave them behind. Do you see the pattern? It's not about obvious threats. It's about airlines minimizing risk at any cost. They don't care if your peanut butter sandwich feels harmless. They don't care if your lighter was a gift. If there's even a small chance of trouble, they'd rather ban it than take risks. And here's the worst part. These are things all of us carry without thinking. A power bank, a water bottle, deodorant. Normal stuff. But if you're not paying attention, they can suddenly cost you your money, your items, and even your trip. That's why in the next part, I'll show you how to build a simple traveler's checklist. A routine that takes 2 minutes before every flight but can save you hundreds of dollars, hours of frustration, and possibly even your vacation. How to fly smart and never lose your items again. Now that you know the 7 everyday items airlines have recently banned, the question is, what can you do about it? Because just knowing the list isn't enough. If you don't put this into practice, you're still one mistake away from losing your things, or worse, missing your flight. Act 3 is all about action. This is where we turn information into habits so you can travel smarter, faster, and stress-free. Think of this as your traveler's survival guide. If you follow these steps, you'll avoid the mistakes that catch most passengers off guard. You'll stop being the person stuck arguing at the checkpoint and instead be the one walking confidently through, knowing you've got everything under control. Step 1. Audit your carry-on before you leave home. Lay everything out on your bed. Look at each item and ask yourself one simple question. Would TSA or airport security look twice at this? If the answer is yes, don't risk it. Either put it in checked luggage or leave it behind. Even something as harmless as peanut butter or a gadget-shaped tool can derail your morning if you're not paying attention. 2 minutes of checking at home can save you 30 minutes of stress at the airport. Step 2. Check your airline's rules, not just the airport's. This is a mistake that catches even frequent flyers. Every airline publishes its own baggage and carry-on guidelines, and they're not always the same. Delta might let you take something that Ryanair or EasyJet won't. Emirates might allow a slightly bigger power bank than United. It takes less than 5 minutes to check your airline's official site, but it could save you from losing items worth hundreds of dollars. Step 3. Downsize your liquids and toiletries. Airports are enforcing the liquid rule harder than ever. Anything over 100 milliliters is gone, no matter how expensive. To avoid heartbreak, buy travel-size bottles, or even better, switch to solid alternatives. Solid shampoos, bar soap, and stick deodorants all bypass the liquid rule completely. Not only are they safer for your luggage, they last longer too. Step 4. Keep proof for anything unusual. If you're carrying medical items, prescription creams, syrups, or even dietary supplements, always carry documentation. A doctor's note or prescription label can be the difference between keeping or losing your medicine. Keep this paperwork in a small folder right inside your carry-on so you don't waste time digging for it. I've watched passengers get waved through in seconds just by showing a note, while others without it ended up losing crucial items. Step 5. Invest in TSA-friendly gear. There's a growing market for travel-friendly products designed specifically to pass security. Transparent liquid bags, TSA-approved nail kits, compact electronics with clear watt-hour labels. They might cost a little more up front, but the first time they save you from losing something at the checkpoint, they've already paid for themselves. Step 6. Adopt the empty bottle rule. This one is simple but powerful. Always bring an empty, reusable bottle. Security will let it through and you can fill it up at a water station afterward. You'll avoid wasting money on overpriced airport water and you'll never have your drink tossed in the trash again. It's a small habit, but one that makes travel much easier. Step 7. Don't argue. Adapt. Here's the truth. You will lose if you argue with security. They don't bend the rules. They don't make exceptions. And the more you push, the more likely you are to delay yourself or even miss your flight. The smarter move is to accept it, let go of the item, and move on. Make a short list of items you'll simply buy at your destination. Lighters, aerosols, certain toiletries. That way you don't even bother packing them. Travel light, and you'll travel happier. Step 8. Build a pre-flight ritual. Frequent travelers swear by rituals. For example, the night before, weigh your bag, check your airline's baggage rules, pack your documents folder, and double-check your carry-on audit. Do this every time, and it becomes muscle memory. You'll fly without the stress, while everyone else is fumbling at the last minute. Let's be clear. Airlines don't care if something feels harmless to you. They care about avoiding risks, delays, and incidents. That's why they keep banning everyday items, even if they don't seem dangerous. The good news? You don't have to fight this system. You just have to understand it, prepare for it, and work around it. If you follow this guide, you'll never again be the traveler stuck repacking a bag on the floor while everyone else boards. You'll never again watch an officer toss your expensive cream, your battery, or your favorite gadget in the trash. Instead, you'll glide through checkpoints calmly, knowing you've outsmarted the chaos. And remember, travel isn't about the little things you bring. It's about the experiences waiting for you on the other side of the gate. Don't let a $10 mistake ruin a $1,000 vacation. So now I want to hear from you. Which of these 7 banned items surprised you the most? Leave a comment below. And if you found this guide helpful, hit subscribe, because in the next video we'll dive into 10 secret airport hacks airlines don't want you to know. Trust me, you'll want to see that before your next trip.